Didi Kyung-A Han, Practicing Urban Commons Amidst Precarity. Farhana Afrin Rahman, Making a Life for Themselves. Ping-Su Lin, Precious Economies. Rupak Shrestha, The Border Came Between Us. Shozab Raza, Theory from the Trenches.
Good day, everyone. I'm Anna Romanovich, serving as the chair for the 13th edition of the Dissertation Committee of the International Convention of Asia Scholars International Book Prize. Today, I am excited to share with you the winner of the ICAS IBP 13 in the Dissertations Social Sciences category. But before we proceed with this announcement, I would like to take a moment to extend my gratitude to those who have played a pivotal role in making 13th edition of the ICAS Book Prize Dissertations possible. Primary responsibility for dissertations in the social sciences category was taken by Alisa Paredes and Do Young-do, our social sciences judges. But they were supported by the other reading committee members, Jayati Bhattacharya and Kathleen Gutierrez. Assessing so many dissertations is a task which requires an open and critical mind, but also honesty. Thank you for your time and devotion. I would also like to use this opportunity to thank every member of the IIAS ICAS office, with special mention to Wai Cheng for her patience and attentiveness to every detail. Since its establishment in 2005, the ICAS Dissertation Prize has evolved into one of the most prestigious and competitive awards within Asian studies. It serves as an acknowledgement for emerging scholars that their work is truly exceptional. The award also brings attention to new developments in the field of Asian studies. In the 13th edition of the ICAS Book Prize, we evaluated a total of 124 dissertations, 54 of them in the social sciences category. We couldn't help but observe a marginal decline in numbers compared to previous editions, possibly an inevitable consequence of the pandemic's impact of the thesis defended between November 2020 and November 2022. But in the evaluation process, we also realized that the quality of the submissions was not hampered. It is actually so impressive that we've taken the decision this year to introduce a new accolade. Let me also briefly repeat that we search to award truly outstanding dissertation. The competition is fierce, so I would like to take this opportunity to extend my heartfelt congratulations to all the authors who found themselves on the long list, short list, and the recipients of our accolades. Your recognition in this competition is well deserved. But what does outstanding mean? It means a dissertation that is captivating, well-structured, groundbreaking, enlightening, and based on meticulous, cutting-edge research. For these qualities, in the category of the social sciences, the recipient of the 13th edition of the ICAS IBP Dissertation Prize is Shozab Raza for his Theory from the Trenches, Revolutionary Decolonization on Pakistan's Landed Estates. His work is a remarkable analysis of peasants-led theorization in the pursuit of liberation and decolonization in Pakistan. It is a highly original study, captivating and honest account, and a timely call for unity in trying times. Congratulations, Shozab. I pass the floor over to you.
Thank you, ICAS, for this award. It's a true recognition, a true honor to receive this award. Thank you to the reading committee for adjudicating this process. Not only is receiving this award a true honor, it's also a good confidence booster as I turn my dissertation into a book manuscript. I'd quickly also like to thank two groups of people who enabled this dissertation. One group is, of course, the peasants and peasant revolutionaries in Pakistan, which is the central kind of site of my research. I want to particularly thank Allah Bakhsh Baloch, who was a friend, an interlocutor, and a comrade who really facilitated my research in Pakistan. And the second group of people I'd like to thank is my dissertation committee, and in particular, of course, the chair of that committee, Tanya Lee, who really pushed me to produce a much stronger dissertation. So thank you to all of them, and to thank you again to ICAS for this recognition.
Hello, Joseph. Hello, great to have you here. Thank you for joining me. And most importantly, congrats on your big achievement, social sciences, best dissertation. And wow. So, my first question to you is can you tell me what part of your dissertation you like the most?
Um, yeah, thank you for that question. I guess for me, the part of the dissertation that I like the most is the chapter on mystical Marxism. It's a chapter that looks at kind of a particular revolutionary in the 1970s who combined kind of Sufi Islam with Marxism. And for me, that was a really exciting chapter to research, to write about, because it was a surprising finding. You know, we typically don't think of Marxism as being joined with religion, and particularly Islam, for
Yeah.
political mobilization. But here was a person who theorized in to join those two traditions together, but also practice a religious form of Marxism. You know, he would build mosques in which he would also deliver anti-capitalist, anti-landlord khutbahs or religious sermons. And so that was a really kind of surprising finding, and kind of I really enjoyed discovering that and writing about that intersection between Islam and Marxism.
Yeah, I think that part was really great. And in general, you give this, some people would say, surprising account about Marxism, because it's not only something that be combined with religion, but it's something that is not as Eurocentric as many critics would like to have it, right? So that's also a very interesting part. But you also mentioned in your dissertation, I mean, the trench theory. How do you understand that, and how is it different from the theory of the big T?
Yeah, thanks for that. I mean, yeah, a major kind of conceptual contribution that I try to make in my dissertation is this concept of trench theory. And it, of course, it draws on, it's taking inspiration for folks who might know from Antonio Gramsci and his idea of ideological struggle as being a form of trench warfare. And so he kind of uses the metaphor of the trench. And so I'm picking it up from that, but it's different from big theory in kind of two, three ways. One is that it's a form of theory that is explicitly tied to political combat, right? That's the trench kind of metaphor, right? Big T theory typically tries to present itself as neutral, above political conflict, even though in reality it might be part of a political struggle. But trench theory is explicitly a theory that is produced in the interest of furthering particular emancipatory political struggles. So that's one aspect that it differs from theory with the big T. The second aspect is that it's also kind of it's produced by subalterns, and it's subterranean. So like it's underground. That's the second kind of way in which I'm drawing on this trench metaphor. It's not it's typically we think of theory as produced by universities, by academics, by professionals, but trench theory, as I show, is kind of it was produced by people who we don't typically think of as theory makers. Peasants, working class folks, and I try to center that these people are theoretical actors. And so those are the kind of two key ways in which I think trench theory differs from theory with a big T.
Am I correct in thinking that this is also some part of your dissertation that can be used by social movements all over the world, in the way how they conceptualize their struggle, and how, for some practical approaches into changing the world?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's about recognizing that theory, radical theory, revolutionary theory to change the world doesn't have to come from the typical places we expected, from academic books, for universities, that actually social movement actors, people who might not even have much formal education, can be theoretical producers in their own right. And many of my interlocutors in my field, they didn't have formal education. They were trained through the party, through the communist movement, and theorized through struggle. And we should take their capacity to theorize seriously, and and also understand that I think, and this is understand that these their theory is not only concerned, and this is kind of a way in which I'm making a broader intervention in scholarship as well, that their theory was not simply about their particular circumstances confronting this landlord or that capitalist, but also part of a wider internationalist struggle to overturn kind of global capitalism and global kind of forms of exploitation and oppression. And so these were, it's a very particular ethnography that I wrote about. It's a very particular situation, very particular peasants, and very particular forms of theorizing, but it's oriented towards the remaking of the world. And that's the second kind of way in which I think social movement folks and people interested in social movements can get from the dissertation is that, you know, peasants can be universal actors, internationalist actors.
Mm-hmm. That's also very optimistic, reading your thesis. Let me ask the last question about you. What was the most difficult moment doing your fieldwork? Can you recall it for us?
Yeah, for me, one kind of difficult moment was being how to be read in the field as a, you know, how to position myself. I was read in multiple different ways in the field. And, you know, because I come from the left, a lot of the peasants who were on the left, they understood, they saw me as a comrade, they kind of trusted me. And so there was no problem there. In fact, amongst the communist movement, there's a strong tradition of doing research for you know, political struggle. And so they understood the importance of my research, that it's important for political practice. But the difficult part was, you know, dealing with the other peasants who were not tied to the kind of communist movement. They were a bit sometimes suspicious of me, thinking of me as a kind of someone from the government, someone who was doing kind of surveillance in some ways. This harkens back to their experiences and stories they've told about colonial officers coming and doing, you know, surveys and doing forms of surveillance. So there was kind of building that trust was difficult with peasants not part of the communist movement. And then the second group of people I faced a bit of difficulty with, the most difficulty was the government itself of Pakistan. I was seen as someone who was, even though I have a Pakistani citizenship, I was, people thought I was a Canadian. That's where I was doing my PhD. They thought I was a foreigner, that I was surveilling for the Canadian government. I was a spy. And so there was an incident in which I was actually, the police raided my house in the middle of like my small kind of place where I was staying in the middle of the night and kind of, you know, thought like took my laptop, took my passport and try to figure out what I was doing. So that was a real kind of, trying to navigate the way, the suspicion of the state for what I was doing was a difficult part of the fieldwork.
Yeah, part of this definitely terrible experience. And I'm sorry I have to cut right now, but I'm sure we can talk about this more next year at the conference.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Great,
So,
thank you again.
Thank you very much for this, and congrats one more time. See you next year then.
Yes, definitely.
Bye.